Guess which horse this is your task now. In the light blue. Put it this way, he's never been beaten.
Oh, don't make it too obvious. Hoodner.
It's Newmarket, yeah, Hoofner. It is Frankel, the one and only Frankel, working at Newmarket. And of course, he is being tuned up for a crack at the Sussex Stakes, the race that he won last year. And I think one feature of his performances this year have been his greater or better ability to settle. He definitely settles better. You can see there as well. He's just nice and relaxed in behind.
Little bullet train in front of him.
Yeah, but they've done a good job getting him to sort of settle and drop the bridle a bit, haven't they? And that's a perfect example of how what they've probably done with him at home. Drop him in behind and get him to drop the bit and just relax.
Yeah, I mean, Sir Henry Cecil has done a masterful job with him, hasn't he? I mean, everyone knows that he's a masterful trainer anyway.
Exactly.
But you've trained horses and trained winners, Angus. Is that what you do to get them to settle?
Try and it's all in there. It's in their head basically. They just want to go and get on with it.
And is a lot of that down to the work rider being able to
they've got to know what they're doing. They've got to be good. They've got to be good.
So
some work riders just give up on horses and so they're just pulling. Oh, just get on with it. Then off you go. If you want to pull and you want to run, off you go. And they don't work at teaching them to settle. And they need to be in behind horses. And yeah, it's all the work that's done at home with him. Plus, I guess as he's got older, as he's gone 3 to 4, he's matured a little bit and he's begun to sort of. You know, he's not so thinking possibly or worrying about his work or worrying about his racing and trying to do everything on one breath. He's learning.
Is there an element as well, though, that he was just, like earlier on in his career, before they sort of taught him how to harness all of that ability, that just nothing was ever going quite quick enough for him?
Probably. There's probably an element.
I always think that, you know, when you get really good horses, if you look at the early parts of their career, they're invariably professional, certainly after the first couple of runs at the back end of the races. Yeah, but in the early part of the race, they're just wanting to go faster. The other horses just aren't quite good enough to take them into a race. Because, I think
that's right.
You know, early on in a horse's career, particularly in a maiden, you could end up being against horses that just aren't quite good enough. I mean, that obviously wasn't the case for his maiden. I mean, what a maiden that is.
But the point is I think that if you let them do it, that when they do get into good company, they're going to want to do it again.
Yeah.
It's that, well,
because they're still not. Yeah.
You needed to learn in the first place. But they've done a magnificent job with him, and he's just got so much raw ability that even if he hadn't learned to settle, he'd probably still be unbeaten.
He's just a remarkable horse, isn't he? He's remarkably good, and I think you can say that with more conviction than ever before on the back of Royal Ascot, because I know it's something that you and James had discussed, and some people had criticised you for it, just trying to pull him down a bit. But there was becoming an element of people were just a bit frightened of him, and they weren't really going to try and beat him. But Celebration did what Canford Cliffs had tried to do, really, and actually tried to beat him, didn't it, Ascot?
Canford Cliffs went lame a long way out in the race, so you can't. Well, in a slowly run race, it was a hack canter and they sprinted for 2 furlongs.
And he hung across, But
so
Celebration tried to race him, didn't he? At a decent gallop.
Celebration has been stuffed enough times by him, hasn't he?
But he got beaten by further than he'd ever been beaten before.
And he did.
I think the reason for that was that he actually tried to beat him this time. It wasn't just a case that, you know, they thought, well, look, they kind of sat next to him, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they went almost stride for stride, and they thought, well, we'll go when this horse goes. And
if you try, you'll get beaten further.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's that good that he maintains that kind of pace for longer than other horses can. If you try and race with him from an early stage in a race, then
he'll kill you.
Yeah.
To be great though, he's got to do it over a different trip, hasn't he? He's got to go up.
But he's great.
To be Brigadier Gerard, who was up to a mile and a half.
But
he's got to be able to beat horses at other trips.
Can you not just be brilliant at what you?
You could be, but the versatility of See the Stars made him.
But the brilliance of Frankel makes him brilliant.
I suppose it's however you look at it, isn't it?
I mean,
it's whether you like your champions to be just, you know, champions at one trip, or whether you like them to be versatile.
I mean, I'd like to see him go over 10 furlongs. But I think whichever way they decided to go with this horse, if Sir Henry Cecil had decided that they were going to win a July Cup with him, then he would have won.
Yeah.
And
I think he'd bolt up in the July Cup.
at a mile he is unbelievable, and we know now there's nothing to beat him. So they may as well go over a longer trip.
Try something.
And
yeah.
if you just looked at his pedigree on a bit of paper, when he first hit a racecourse, if you didn't know anything else about him, then you'd have said this is a horse who wants 10 furlongs, possibly 11.
Yeah.
Based on his pedigree alone. He's by Galileo.
A bit of stamina there. Yeah, I know. He should stay. He should stay.
I'm convinced that he will stay 10 furlongs, and
if he stays,
you'd be hard pressed to say that he'll be better over it because he's unbelievable over a mile. But I think he can be every bit as good. And based on his pedigree alone, this horse has stopped amazing me now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he absolutely blitzed him over 10 furlongs.
Yeah, I can't wait.
He's a different type of horse that he can take on.
Yeah, he is going to do it, isn't he? Juddmonte International, maybe. I
think it'll be the Juddmonte. Yeah,
it's got
I
to
think
be, isn't it? 'Cause it's sponsored by, obviously, by Khalid Abdullah.
Yeah, I think that's what they'll do with him. And he'll win by as far as he's won before.
Probably. Yeah. Champion Stakes would be good, wouldn't it? If Nathaniel turned up and Cirrus des Aigles and maybe Camelot had a crack as well. That would be great. But
it'd be a heck of a race.
That would be great. But whether that happens or not,
wouldn't it be if those two horses? Because it could well be. I mean, it's too early to say, but it might well be that Nathaniel finishes at the end of the season. I hope he doesn't. I hope he goes on for another year. But if those two horses wound up their careers, having started out in a Newmarket maiden,
and then wound up in the Champion Stakes, it'd be very good. That wouldn't it?
Yeah.